Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Plays Binding of Isaac AFTERBIRTH Plus. What's to be upset about it? 12 wins in a row. Eden. Just waiting a second for the run to start. Okay. WFNN 8Bev. It's my third favorite soda manufacturer, 8Bev. They're a Luxembourgish company. They make many sodas you've not heard of probably, such as La Fin du Monde. Good stats, except damage is pretty bad. But our HP being at 2 instead of 1 is a nice change of pace. And, I mean, don't take that as complaining. I'm very, yes, let's grab this. I'm very pleased with our lot in life recently. Again, like I said, 12 wins in a row. Oh, jeez, I almost screwed up our deal with the devil chance there. And it's been a while since we were at a you know, relatively decent streak in Isaac, embarrassingly enough. Meanwhile, you know, Sinvicta is 365 wins in a row, no big deal, you know. More power to you. I mean, it's only triple my best streak ever, a streak that I wistfully look to and go, remember those days when I was good? And you just, I mean, you gotta have a lot of respect for it for a number of reasons. One is, it takes a year. It takes 365 days just to do it, dude. It's like an Iron Man streak more than... It's less impressive just that you win, and more impressive just that you keep going at that point. Don't you do it, buddy. Hold on, I'm dumb. Why would I put prayer card back down? Go grab that. It's not like we're going to use magic fingers here. It's like Cal Ripken Jr.'s Iron Man streak in baseball, right? Imagine getting like, you know, 1,100 games played consecutively, and then you just get sick one day, and you're like, sorry, can't make it today. Okay, it's not good. I don't know why they gave me the good sound when it's not good, but life goes on. Of course, I'm disappointed to lose the Eternal Heart, but, you know, we're kind of in a situation where we should be able to get a bunch of them. It's the idea, anyway. Yeah, it's a testament to a number of different things. It's like, you know, there's when I used to be into running, there's something, there's many different spectrums of running, or the conditions of running that you could gauge yourself on. You know, a very common one is what's the mileage you run per week. You know, some people run 10 miles a week, and that's cool. It's more than I'm running. Some people run, you know, 80 miles a week. Some people probably run more than that. But another one is the like mile, or how many days in a row you've run a mile. And I remember reading these stories of people that are like, you know, they're in their 60s or 70s, and they have like thousands of days in a row, like decades, where every single day they've run a mile. Now that's impressive. It is also a little like, stupid is not the word I want to use, but like, I understand the streak is valuable to you, don't get me wrong, but simultaneously, you know, there wasn't a day where you were like deathly ill and you were like, you know, I don't want to go running today because I have like a terrible gastrointestinal flu and I'm worried I might, you know, auto-defecate while I'm on the trail. Like, that's, I don't want to say selfish either, but, you know, you might be leaving a mess for the other runners is all I'm saying. Tears down, fantastic. That's why I would never do, and again, please don't take this as besmirching the efforts of other streamers. There's multiple other streamers out there who have not their gimmick, because that sounds rude, but like one of the things that, you know, is a selling point for them is the fact that they stream every day. You know, they have like Lethal Frag did it for like 2 years. Co-Star has done it for like 6 years or something. It's madness, but also amazing. More power to you. I would never. I mean, I stream a lot. At least I stream a lot of days out of the given week. But you know, it just seems like a little. I want to leave myself the opportunity to kind of like be like, today I don't want to talk to anybody, you know, I got a terrible like throat infection or something like that. And then there was like 4 or 5 days where I didn't stream last summer because, you know, I was basically as sick as I've ever been in my life. I think it's important to leave that space open. For me. I won't speak for anybody else necessarily. Now, when was the last time I actually, like, canceled the stream? Try it. There's probably been, I mean, illness notwithstanding, which I've probably canceled, you know, a couple of streams for in my life, but usually I do stream through it because I can't take my own advice, and if I'm not working, I get a little stir-crazy. I don't know, it's probably, maybe since I had my freaking wisdom teeth out, and even that was like 4 years ago. I don't know, dude. I try not to. I take my schedule seriously. But, you know, if there's like a day where, like, you know, my child is being born or something like that, I'm probably gonna log off for a bit. And I know it sounds like I'm, you know, preaching to the converted here, but I mean, it doesn't, you know, you can just go live for 2 minutes and be like, hey, you know, I'm just continuing my streak. By the way, we got, like, exciting news today, but I don't know. I just don't want, I don't want to. Same with the run a mile thing. Like, I saw a post, you know, because I've been working out, of course, for 2 months. I've become an expert on it. Basically, PhD level in everything, you know, muscle gaining. That's a joke, by the way, in case you're not fluent in sarcasm. But I was reading on Reddit where some dude, and you know, yeah, on some level you admire the dedication, but it's, you know, I'll just tell you the post. The post was like, how do you motivate yourself to go to the gym when you're sick? And thank God, everybody in the comments was like, you selfish son of a gun. Don't go to the gym when you're sick, moron. You're gonna get everybody else at the gym ill. You know, you're really so worried about the loss in momentum from like a week of not going to the gym that you're willing to get hundreds of other people sick and be like patient zero. It's like the most selfish thing in the world. You become a biological agent at that point. Anyway. We're good. Take me down to the next floor. Oh, and we're going to start with a charge 1 room deep as well. We have a fetish in, I'm not going to say in North America specifically, but, you know, all I can speak to is my, you know, experience. But, you know, in Canada and United States, you know, we kind of brag about working through illness, and it's a bad habit. Gets everybody else sick as well. The reason I don't want to say it's North America only is because, you know, when I worked in Korea, we didn't get any sick days. Like, we worked in conditions, it was not like I worked in a, you know, a sweatshop or something like that. But I do want to be clear that, you know, I know how, and maybe this is how I've helped to maintain my perspective, you know, despite it, having made YouTube videos full-time for 7 years. Every day I wake up and get to do this, I'm struck by the fact that it's still a privilege to do so, which I think a lot of people lose over time. And maybe I will eventually, but, you know, I remember working in Korea, and it was like, hey, it was baked into your contract. It was a standard contract, essentially underwritten by the Korean government. It was like, if you miss 0 days of work, you get a nice cash bonus at the end of your contract, so at the end of a year. But there was like, it was a built-in schedule that was, you know, if you miss like 1 day, you miss 25% of your bonus. If you miss 2 days, you miss like 30%, and, you know, it gets worse and worse. But, so on the one hand, you know, it's a nice bonus at the end of your contract, but on the other hand, it really incentivizes you to not take a sick day. And then beyond that, the culture was just, you do not take a sick day. I remember one of my coworkers, I don't know what she had, but she was like infectious. She was completely, like, basically had such a high fever she could barely speak coherently, and she was teaching kindergartners who were gonna, you know, go to the bathroom, not wash their hands, and then, you know, touch everybody on the face. And then at lunch, she went to talk, and this is a true story, I swear to you. She went to speak to the principal, and was like, basically the boss, and was like, hey, I don't know if I can continue teaching after the lunch break, because, like, I'm so sick, I think I might pass out. And the teacher, or the principal, took her to the nearby hospital and, you know, I don't know, greased the wheels a little bit. Within half an hour, she got in to see a doctor. The doctor gave her a big injection of something. I don't know, like I was going to say a vitamin shot, but really I just don't know what it was. I'm assuming it's a crazy dose of, like, beats me, honestly. like an antihistamine or something. I have no idea what you could take on such a short level that would just minimize your illness. And, you know, she wasn't feeling, a short time span, I should say. She wasn't feeling amazing, but she was like, yeah, I can at least, like, finish the day now. So those are the lengths that they would go to in order to make sure you didn't miss a day. So, you know, I'm not saying North America's got a monopoly on it. I think we always look to Europe, you know, and we're like, well, Europe, you know, you get a year of maternity leave and 3 months of paternity leave. I hope I said maternity the first time, otherwise it's confusing. And, like, you know, your boss encourages you to take time off when you're ill and blah, blah, blah. And you forget about, you know, in, like, Korea and Japan, it's like, oh, you're sick? That's cool. See you at the office at 8 a.m. You're done work at 6 p.m. And then you're forced to go out drinking with your boss afterwards until he wants to go home. So that'll be like, you know, 2 a.m. and then see you at the office again 6 hours later to rinse and repeat. So I'm dying. Please, God, give me a damage upgrade somewhere on this floor. It's not train wreck. We got so much HP, but I just need... I need a lot more gas. Anyway. You shouldn't go to work. You shouldn't go to school when you're sick either. Is there a worse... Like... You literally have... I mean, let's run the numbers, okay? From elementary school to high school, how many days of school do you have? Let's just assume, you know, is 5 times 40. I know that's not fair. That's 200 days a year times, you know, let's factor kindergarten into it. So that's 10 years of elementary school, 4 years of high school. So it's 40 times 14. That's 5,600 days of school. You know, looking back at my high school career, were there amazing days where I learned a lot? Yeah. But the average day was like, okay, I learned like a little bit, and I'm gonna go home. You know? Just don't go to... I mean, this is mostly for the parents out there. Don't send your kid to school when they're ill. I mean, I think they should not be able... I mean, you might be surprised, okay? I was not like the perfect kid, but I never, ever faked sick to get out of school. And I'm being 100% sincere with you. I also, and this blows people's minds sometimes, I never skipped class in high school. Part of the reason was because I was a relatively good kid. Another reason is I was smart, so I knew that at my, you know, hillbilly high school, there was nothing to do if you skipped class. You just skip class, go hang out at the corner store. I'd rather be in geography, honestly. Okay, this is a very important situation for us here. We shouldn't compromise our ability to get a deal with the devil. That should be pretty much set in stone. I knew it. I was watching the brownie in motion there. See? Told you I didn't skip class. But anyway. Did I skip class in college? Yeah, I skipped a little class in college, okay? But that was for good reasons, like the class being early in the morning. I'm just mostly joking. You should go to class, especially in college, because you pay for it. But moreover, you know, if you just show up in class and like do your work, you're probably gonna do fine, depending on your program at least. All right, so I like what we got, but it is not an offensive improvement. Offense still really bad, but we can fly. We got a lot of HP. It's hard to get out of that mindset. I hope that, you know, my generation is... I don't think we did it. I think it's kind of lost on us, you know. But the generation coming up slightly behind me / us, I mean, this is potentially pretty sick, dude. At least for this floor, we can leverage this. Why not? And in fact, this is actually really good, although it's going to be frustrating as well, because we're going to get more combat, which is going to give us more charges, which is going to give us more ability to use potato peeler for this floor. But we got to be very careful with it for sure. You know, I think I still have it baked into my psyche that, like, if you go to work when or if you do work when you're ill, you're like a better worker than the person that stays home. And admittedly, I'm kind of absent some of the concerns. Like, it's not gonna, like, I'm gonna get my coworkers sick, but, you know, if I didn't work, I might get faster, or I might get better faster. Moreover, it's just kind of like treating yourself. Like, why make yourself miserable just because you feel the pressure to, you know, make another Isaac episode that day is pretty dumb. I'm not gonna deny that if you were selling me to this with a PowerPoint presentation, I would be like, you know, just take a nap, dummy. People will understand, but You know, there's a little bit of, you know, capitalist guilt that factors in there on some level. I can't really explain it, but I'm hoping that, you know, the generation one behind me has done a better job of learning the lesson of like, hey, if you're sick, like, just stay home. I don't care if you have to stay home for a week, you know, I'd rather you stay home for a week than come to the office and get 5 other people sick. And then they lose 3 days each or something like that. You know, it's, I played Pandemic. I understand how it spreads. Plus, I got a degree in biology or something, but, you know, who cares? I like to say a degree in biology because, you know, by definition, it has to be like an undergrad, but who knows? When I say a degree, you don't know, dude. It could be a PhD. Could be one of those honorary degrees they give to actors and actresses. It's not. My school doesn't know who I am. Probably. Something's wrong. Yeah, something's wrong. My damage is lower than it was when I started this run, and yet we're on the caves too. Surely you see my conundrum. Anyway. When you're sick, stay home. That's all I'm saying. Well, you know, probably. It's gotta be frustrating though. Like, what if you're like a surgeon and you've scheduled a surgery with somebody like, you know, a year in advance, and then the surgery comes up and you're like, you know, cough, cough. That's rough, dude. I mean, you can't in good conscience perform surgery when you're, you know, you got an infectious illness, right? But, you know, what do you do? Do you try to pencil them in for as soon as possible, or I don't know. These are concerns. Like, what happens when you're going to court? You know, and your lawyer is like, I can't talk. Throws a monkey wrench into the whole system, right? Dude, this run is falling apart now. Things are getting mighty crowded on the catacombs, too. Keep in mind, actually, you know, I shouldn't say we have less damage, because Potato Peeler has raised our damage to some extent. But, I mean, this is getting real spotty. I do think, if we have the HP base to make it happen, I would like to get Potato Peeler to pop one more time, because a 3rd level Meat Boy is just, you know, 100 times more valuable than a, oh, that's so good. 100 times more valuable than a 2nd level Meat Boy. That's the last big jump for sure. You look for a Spirit Heart here, and then, you know, you probably got the secret room there, as you can see. Okay, so there's the Spirit Heart. We gotta basically take advantage of everything we got here. Power Pill's fine. Relax. 48-hour energy is unbelievably great. So I think we should probably go for the 4th level Meat Boy. Hopefully we can buy some battery charges on the shop as well. Like, we're really, really going for broke here on this Potato Peeler. I don't think it's super risky yet. I think it's, you know, that's smart money. But, it is a little bit dangerous. And our damage is starting to come up, but it's still pretty darn bad. Would love to see a Magic Mush or something like that. So, another level of Meat Boy is advantageous for us here. There's no doubt about that. Just gotta think about that for a second. Okay, Demon Baby is a very easy to take item. Surely we do not care about Dead Sea Scrolls. One more level of Meat Boy is a genuinely worthwhile orbital. 2 is where we would cross the line. Or, I don't know, cross the line doesn't seem like the right idiom to use there. Is where we would hit the brakes. That's the one I'm looking for. Because there's just, there's not much advantage to be gleaned from a 2nd level Meat Boy versus a 1st level Meat Boy. Except that it's the necessary step between, like, you know, 2, 3, and 4. Or 1 and 3, specifically, I guess. Get him, dude. Thank you, thank you. So it's going to be a slower run than you might be used to here, and that's it's the cost of doing business sometimes. You got to play the run that shows up. You don't get to choose, like, okay, today I'm going to do a fast run, today I'm going to do a slow run, etc., etc. But man, oh man, would I feel my fortunes turn if we could just get I mean, those are pretty good, but if we could just get, like, a decent damage upgrade, everything would fall into place. A magic mush, etc., etc. But anyway, I'm talking too much about Isaac, and it's not really that relevant right now. The run is relatively safe. We look like we're in a pretty decent spot. I'm not gonna go get that next level Meat Boy just yet. To get another 3rd level Meat Boy on top of what we already got, would it be worthwhile? Because we could play it... Oh, it wouldn't be a 3rd level, it would just be a 2nd level. I gotta think about it, okay? I gotta think about it. We got a lot of money. I want to see what's going on in the shop here. If we could pivot to like a candle or something. Okay, well, that's gonna be that. Let's see what we've got in our self-sac, or in our deal with the devil then. And stop walking into enemies. We have decent HP. Dude, did he Mr. President me? He stepped in front of the bomb. Thank you, Bruce Willis in Armageddon. Okay, this is a big one. Good item, and then also deal with the devil, please. Yo. So, a decent item, and then a deal with the devil, unlikely to provide too much benefit, but who knows, dude. If that's a Perthrow rune. It is a Perthrow rune. Okay, I mean... it hurts a little. Because, like, we could have just taken the lump of coal, but I thought, you know, it's in my best interest to try to shoot for the fences. When you're 20 minutes deep into the run, and you're on the caves too, and you're working it, dude. Like, we're trying to get faster, or more offensively potent. Like, you gotta do what you gotta do. So here's what, on a long run like this, here's what I do. You take a sip of your coffee. You try to play the best game that you could conceivably play, and you just let the chips fall where they may, you know? We're probably not going to get a whole heck of a lot of offense improvement on the next floor, because you got to consider the fact that, you know, I mean, the boss room notwithstanding, you never know what you're going to get there, but our deal with the devil odds are going to be 1/3, roughly. That's where you expect to get the good stuff. I have faith that we're going to get there. It might just take us a while. That's okay. Anyway, how are things going? Going well, dude. Thanks for asking. I know that because of the, I bring up a lot of bits, you know, about how I'm in my 30s now. It's still novel to me to be in my 30s. I'm sure when I'm like 33, I'll be like, you know, yeah, I'm used to it. Shut up. But like, you know, you gotta keep in mind, this is my first time I've ever been in my 30s, right? So I've been slowly gathering some insight into previously. When you're a youngster, you're on the outside looking in. You know, you see like a 50-year-old and you judge their behavior. Why, hey, dummy, why are you doing that? Why don't you do it like this? I've been alive for 1/3 the length of time. I think I got it figured out. You know, now I'm starting to understand. Like yesterday, well, the impetus for this bit is that I was, you know, I've been aware of the fact I've been talking about the weather a lot, and there's like a stereotype that it's the most boring thing in the world to talk about the weather. It's like sad. I don't believe that. There was probably a time where I used to believe that. The irony is that, you know, people would be like, hey, old man, what are you doing talking about the weather? I don't want to talk about the weather. You'd be like, what do you want to talk about? He'll be like, Captain Marvel. It's alright, okay? Let's just talk about the weather a little bit. It affects all of us. Anime. NL, don't go there, NL. Dude, you're gonna get in trouble. I'm being facetious, okay? Where was I going with this? Well, I've been talking about the weather because it's been nice, you know? I live in a neighborhood where it's really nice for walking. So, you know, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I work out. My legs are sore afterwards. I don't want to go for a walk. I want to go up and record some Isaac, which is what you're witnessing right now. Tuesday, Thursday, if I wake up early enough, I got a little time in the morning, like to go for a nice walk, get the vitamin D. Helps my mood, helps my mental state. I really feel like, a lot of streamers, and not just streamers, but people who are always online. You know, and I don't mean like a Ubisoft game where you gotta vet the fact that you purchased the loot boxes that you yourself earned in game. Trials Rising, anybody. I just mean like people who spend a lot of time online. Feel like, please, and I always have to preface this. I am not one of those guys who's like, people these days, they can't take a joke, blah, blah, blah. Because most of the jokes that people get offended by, I really think are just like hack work by terrible comedians. That's my 2 cents on that. They'll be like, meh, offensive thing with no punchline. And then people are like, dude, that's not funny. And they go, well, when did we learn to be so serious? Just like be funnier. Anyway, hold on a second here. Let's reroll. But I feel like people who are always online, and I've been in this camp myself, and am still in this camp myself, that's why it requires active maintenance for me. We have a tendency to get rattled over pretty minor things in the whole scheme of things. Some stranger in chat called me a dummy for coming second in a Tetris 99 game. You know, am I gonna... Yo! This is a pretty good gift there, honestly. Am I really gonna let that ruin my day? I mean, there were probably times in my life where I would have been like, dude, I'm in a bad mood because of that. And the only thing, or the thing that I've found that's the best for me, people say, like, don't read the comments, don't blah, blah, blah. There's 2 things, actually, that I think a lot of people would benefit from. And I mean this sincerely. One is recognizing the, you know, having the ability to determine good nature feedback versus bad nature feedback. If some person, you recognize their avatar, you recognize their name, says something that you take as offensive, you know, recognize as well that, you know, they're probably a fan of yours, and they, you know, maybe they're frustrated for whatever reason, they're having a bad day. Doesn't give them an excuse to be a jerk, but simultaneously, there's a difference between, you know, some person who's been watching your stream for a year says, like, something that you take offense to, versus some username that's just popped up for the first time in chat that goes, haha, you dumb. You know, there's a difference there. But then secondly, like, going outside, I never realized, I always thought that, like, why don't you go outside, nerd, is like an insult. But in actuality, it's well-meaning good advice. Like, you know, not just going outside, I mean, that helps, like getting access to the sun, synthesizing some of that vitamin D, maybe getting a little bit of light exercise. I think is good for your mood, of course, but also, like, having things in the outside world that are meaningful, like, I think it helps put things into perspective, you know? Like, you know, last year I was having in the Java arc, I was immune to criticism. Because whenever people were like, hey, you bad at Slay the Spire, I would just go, dude, first off, you're not wrong. Thanks for watching. I hope you're entertained nonetheless. But secondarily, dude, I got this Java assignment that's it's racking my brain. I don't know how to complete it. So I mean, I'll have time to get, you know, stressed out or rattled by your comments once I figure out, you know, this thing on my to-do list. I think it helps. You know, having something to get out of the house for. But those are just my 2 cents. You know, we live in an increasingly online world. There's no doubt about that. The more online things get, the more I like to sort of rebel and find myself, you know, doing things the old-fashioned way, going outside. Not because I think that it's... Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm arguing a point that's probably not going to make me too many friends, but I do think, like, being online too much can be harmful. I don't mean harmful in the sense that it's going to turn you into, like, a cold-blooded killer or something like that. I mean harmful in the sense that, like, you know, for your own personal psyche, I think you can... Well, it's hard to say, because what I was going to say is you could start to believe that the online world is like the real world. But it is. I mean, you know, that's where people start relationships, make friends, do their banking. You know, if that's not the real world, what the heck is, right? But, you know, I guess you gotta... It helps me is what I'll say, to separate the wheat from the chaff. You know, is this online nonsense worth getting worked up about, or is this just the, you know, the honey that you taste on the way towards the inevitable demise that all of us experience? You know, a distraction from the great beyond. I don't know. I don't have an answer for you. All I got is one man's insight and opinion. And I will never forgive Edmund and Tyrone for giving me a seed that forces me to, you know, I got so lost on a stream of consciousness to start talking about my own, you know, built-in philosophy. You do have to be careful, though. And I've been down this road myself, and I'm constantly trotting this ground even now. You know, it's like, at first, you're, like, mad about things. And then you get a little bit of perspective, and you go, that's not worth getting mad about. And then there's one fatal step you can take, but you should not take all the time, which is nothing is ever worth getting mad about. And then that leads to the final step of, like, nothing is worth caring about. And I think that's, I don't know if it's, again, I can only speak to my own, you know, generation, but that was my online experience, definitely, as, like, a teenager. Was, like, eventually getting to the point, like, enlightenment was just being able to see terrible news and then just type, like, Lamau owned or something like that. And you were the new Buddha, because, you know, your inner peace came from within or something like that. But it's actually, I'm here to tell you, extremely lame. Caring about things is, like, really cool. As long as you're actually passionate about it, for sure. You know, rest assured, the number of days I open up Twitter and I see, you know, oftentimes there's really, really important stuff is trending and people are getting righteously upset about, and I'm cool with that. And some days, what's trending is what I would describe as inane nonsense, and I shake my head and go, hundreds of thousands of people are talking about this? But, you know, that's not for me to decide. I do think people get rattled over petty concerns, but, you know, what's petty to them might not be petty to me, and vice versa. You know what I mean? Mostly, I had no idea, dude, and this is where we're bringing it back. How popular is K-pop, man? I had no idea. Everybody's tweeting about K-pop. I lived in Korea. I'm familiar with K-pop. I'm only familiar with about 4 months of K-pop, even though I lived there for a year. And it was before it really took off internationally with, like, you know, BTS and stuff like that. But there was still, you know, Sunyoshi Day, Wonder Girls, etc., but I don't know. You got to get a little deeper into the K-pop archives if we want to have a conversation. Because I remember, like, 6 songs that were popular when I lived there. One was Americano, Joa, Joa. It was kind of like, you know, Korea's Train or something like that, or Jason Mraz. And then there was a song called Shy Boy. That was a big one. And apart from that, I don't remember much. Still a lot of stores playing G by Sunyoshi Day. I've told this story before for sure, but it's one of my favorite stories to tell. And it was one of the times where I was like, you know what? And this, just let this sink in, okay? When I tell this story, this is why, you know, when I look at Twitter every day, maybe that's why I feel older than I am sometimes, is because I'm using a platform where, I don't know, it feels like the average user is at least a decade younger than me. But, you know, Kate and I were in Korea last year, and the night before this anecdote, there was a crazy thunderstorm. Like, literally, I mean, you shouldn't joke about it because of the whole DMZ thing, but, like, it sounded like an explosive went off or something like that. And it kind of shook our apartment, or our hotel room a little bit. And, you know, I woke up and I was like, whoa, that's crazy. You know, thunder. The next day, you know, Seoul thunderstorm was trending, and there were so many comments in English, and bizarrely, in Portuguese as well. I don't know if there's a big K-pop fandom in Portugal, or maybe it was just the time zones, but they were tweeting like their favorite boy band members and going like, you know, Jihyun, be safe, stay inside, stay strong for Jihyun, Seoul thunderstorm. It's a thunderstorm, dude. These are 19-year-old millionaires. You think they're gonna get struck by lightning? They're not out there flying a kite in the middle of a thunderstorm. It's very hilarious to me. And of course, you know, wishing for your favorite musician to stay safe. I mean, I'm not gonna tweet, you know, well, a lot of my favorite musicians are definitely dead. I've been listening to a lot of the lecherous Serge Gainsbourg lately. I'm not gonna tweet him and be like, oh, stay safe, Serge. We need another Une Histoire de Melody Nelson. But, you know, I mean, it's if I was a little bit younger, I don't know. If there was a bad rainstorm in Ithaca, Washington, stay safe, Isaac Brock. Modest Mouse needs you. I don't know. I guess the thing that weirds me out, I shouldn't say it weirds me out, but I find unusual, is that, and now I'm getting into dangerous territory that I don't fully understand. But what else is this series, you know? But I feel like sometimes, particularly like K-pop boy band members get weirdly infantilized despite being adults. You can tell I'm getting older because I'm saying words like infantilized. There'll be like a 20-year-old dude in a band, and then people will tweet like, oh, look at my sweet boy's cute smile, he's loving it. Or like, you know, BTS was at like the American Music Awards or something, and Dolly Parton was singing Jolene. And then I mean, this stuff just makes it into my feed. I don't actively go searching for it, weirdly enough. I don't know, Twitter, there was a point where you only saw tweets from people you followed, and then for like a year, they were like, okay, now you're gonna see tweets that people you followed liked or retweeted, which is fine, I guess. And, you know, I learned what a lot of you guys are into when it comes to your, you know, private fantasies that you didn't realize were being publicized every time you clicked on that heart button, but so be it. It's your prerogative, not mine. But then they were just like, we're just gonna show you everything. It's just a fire hose of tweets. But anyway, you know, Dolly Parton singing Jolene, and then like one of the guys from BTS was dancing, and they were like, look at my king. My king likes all styles of music, including the oft-maligned country. And I'm like, dude, he's an adult human. He's not a dog. Just let him. I don't know why he's being so weird about it. Yeah, he's a musician. He's listening to another musician. He's paying some respect. I can't believe he's so enlightened. He likes the country music and all that. Anyway. K-pop Twitter, I don't mean to anger you. I mean, I'm above criticism. Remember, I lived in the country, so all of my opinions are immediately validated. I lived in the country 8 years ago, and as a result, I'm an expert. Much like having worked out for 2 months. I don't want to mess with K-pop Twitter. It's a strong army. I don't want to mess with Ariana Grande Twitter. I don't want to mess with any stands on Twitter. We're cool as far as I'm concerned. I got stands on Twitter. Yo, is it spun? This run came together at the end. It's still pretty offensively bad, but like it's not so bad I'm offended, but it's got enough utility to make it pop. I find I don't get embroiled in much Twitter drama, and I've got a really good secret for that. When dumb stuff happens that you think is dumb, don't tweet about it being dumb. Just close the app and go live your life, and then you'll never get sucked into arguments over, like, you know, dragons, crowns, localization, and stuff like that. It's a really good tip. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button. That was a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. See ya!